Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said that the nationwide lockdown will continue, even as he has announced the easing of certain restrictions. Now, in a televised address to the nation, Boris Johnson said that the lockdown has prevented Britain from being engulfed in a catastrophe. With nearly about 32,000 COVID-19 deaths, Britain is the world's second worst affected nation in terms of the outbreak, and after the United States. The United Kingdom's Prime Minister has said that people who can't work from home, such as those in the construction or the manufacturing industry, should be actively encouraged to go back to work.
No, this is not the time simply to end the lockdown this week. Instead, we're taking the first careful steps to modify our measures. And the first step is a change of emphasis that we hope that people will act on this week. We said that you should work from home if you can and only go to work if you must. We now need to stress that anyone who can't work from home, for instance, those in construction or manufacturing, should be actively encouraged to go to work, and we want it to be safe for you to get to work. So you should avoid public transport if at all possible.
But Johnson has also unveiled the 5-tier coronavirus alert system for the country as he announced the easing of certain restrictions. He said that schools can reopen by the 1st of June, while the hospitality industry can be allowed to resume operations perhaps sometime by the 1st of July.
We will be monitoring our progress locally, regionally and nationally. And if there are outbreaks, if there are problems, we will not hesitate to put on the brakes. We've been through the initial peak, but it's coming down the mountain that is often more dangerous.
Now, interestingly, Johnson said that people should not travel by public transport, even as he's asked construction workers to return to work. The Britain's top opposition leader, Keir Starmer, has also criticised Johnson's strategy, saying that it actually lacks clarity.
Well, I think what the country wanted tonight was real clarity and a sense of consensus, and I'm afraid we haven't got that. The basic message, stay alert, just isn't clear enough, and there are more questions than answers in the Prime Minister's statement.
Many elements of the Prime Minister's national address had been widely previewed in recent days. For example, from Wednesday, the idea that people will be no longer restricted to just 1 hour of outdoor exercise per day. And in fact, people will be allowed to lounge in parks if they want to, so long as they observe social distancing. But any further freedoms will depend highly on the critical R number, keeping the rate of infection below 1.
Throughout this period of the next 2 months, we will be driven not by mere hope or economic necessity. We're going to be driven by the science, the data, and public health.
The Stay Alert message has attracted criticism for being too ambiguous and open to interpretation, that the police will find it unenforceable and the public might find it confusing.
It doesn't really mean anything. There's no instruction in the same way as the last message. And I think you saw in the Prime Minister's speech just now how the government has had to come back from some of the things they were thinking of doing earlier in the week because they're just unsure about how to get this right. And we've already seen today in the United Kingdom, there is going to be a lot of uncertainty and there's a lack of clarity about what it is the government want people to do. They should really have just found different wording to try and navigate these next 2 or 3 weeks.
To make things even more confusing, since coronavirus restrictions are a devolved matter, with Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland setting their own policies, those 3 nations have firmly rejected the Prime Minister's new slogan.
Clarity of message is paramount if we expect all of you to know exactly what it is we are asking of you. And as leaders, we have a duty to deliver that clarity to those we are accountable to, not to confuse it. To that end, I have asked the UK Government not to deploy their Stay Alert advertising campaign in Scotland, because the message in Scotland at this stage is not stay at home if you can. The message is, except for the essential reasons you know about, stay at home, full stop.
From the outset, it was realised that lifting the lockdown was always going to be far more difficult than imposing it in the first place. The Prime Minister's heavily conditional sketch of a roadmap makes it abundantly